Good morning, class. So before we begin our lesson for today, let's play a game. So ito yung tinatawag nilang, what's the password? So this is how you will play the game. So you will form a circle with your group, and if you know the password, just shout the words, Captain, we know the password, and then wait for the teacher to respond. Okay, so did you get? Are you ready? Okay, let us begin. So in the chess one, we have 5 letters. So ang unang letra nito ay, it is where the birds lay eggs. So ano bang tawag natin sa bagay na kung saan doon nangingitlog ang mga ibon? In English. Tama, nest. So ang first letter is letter N. So ang second letter is, it is a kind of animal that have a huge heads. They are mostly active at night but not in the daytime. What are they? Tama, mga owl. So, ang second letter ay nagsa-start sa letter O. Okay, so the third letter is, it is a thing very useful during rainy days and sunny days. Ano ba yung mostly nagagamit natin kapag umuulan at umaaraw? Tama, umbrella. So, ang third letter is letter U. So, ang fourth naman is, it is used for writing or taking down notes. Ano ba yung ginagamit natin? Notebook. Tama kayo. So, ang fourth letter is letter N. So, ang pinakahuling letter naman is, it is the person, place, thing, or idea that a sentence is about. So, ito ay subject. So, ang last letter is S. So, ano ang password na nabuo ninyo? Tama kayo, ito ay nouns. Nag-enjoy ba kayo sa ating laro? Okay, so magtungo tayo sa ating topic for today. Okay, so andito nga tayo sa Module 7, which is the social, ethical, and legal responsibilities in the use of technology, tools, and resources. Okay, so we have here digital citizenship versus global citizenship. So, since we are considered citizens of the community, we live in them as users of the internet. We can also call ourselves as citizens of the digital world where we live and learn and work, kasi we are one of the consumers of the internet, so we consider ourselves as citizens of the digital world. And so, digital citizenship is an idea that all persons using the internet have civic rights and responsibilities. So, as users also of the internet is, meron tayong karapatan, but then we have also our responsibilities wherein dapat alam natin yung limitations natin sa pagpo-post or kung ano ba yung mga hindi dapat gawin sa internet. So, it centers around safe, savvy, and ethical use of technology. Okay, so we have here some questions for you to answer after our discussion. Okay, so global citizens sees the world as community in which all people live and prosper together. So, he or she understands that her actions contribute to the values of the entire planet, and he and she is concerned and on how or she participates in that and contributes to the entire world. So, global citizens views the world as an interconnected community. So, dito everyone lives and prosper together, makakasama lahat. And then dito is ine-emphasize niya yung impact ng mga ginagawa ng mga tao sa ating mundo. So, it emphasizes the impact of individuals' actions on the world, while the digital citizenship, on the other hand, adheres to the guidelines. Sabi ko kanina, meron tayong mga rules na dapat ding sundin sa paggamit ng ating internet. So in here's global citizens combines both digital citizenship and global citizenship, wherein using technology responsibly and ethically to foster a global community. We use technologies so that we are trying to foster a global community. Okay, so when you mix these two together, it's the perfect recipe for digital citizen. A global digital citizen is a responsible, ethical citizen. So, dapat alam natin yung mga limitations natin sa paggamit, yung mga pagka-copyright para hindi tayo ma-plagiarize. And also, the global digital citizen understands that we can govern technology for the benefit of both ourselves and others. So, nagbe-benefit naman tayo sa paggamit natin ng technology and ng ating internet. So, it is a citizen that views the world as an interconnected community. So, yung biniview natin yung mundo na or konektado sa iba-ibang kultura or religion or magkaka-connect tayong lahat. So, sabi niya dyan, it is a citizen that views the world as an interconnected community. Additionally, the digital citizen realizes that we simultaneously share technological and human experiences. So, makakapareho tayo ng mga experiences sa paggamit ng technology, whether makakaiba tayo ng kultura, ng status sa buhay, ng political ideologies, ng mga paniniwala natin. So, yan is ayon kay Watanabe Crockett ng 2017. Okay, so, knowledge check. So, what is the difference between digital citizenship and global citizenship? And why do we need to be global digital citizens? Okay, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge. So, kailangan nating maging global digital citizens so that we will know our limitations and kung paano natin mapapanatili yung privacy natin or yung safetyness ng ating profile sa internet. So, tama kayo. So, ngayon naman is let's move on to the 5 tenets of global digital citizenship. So, first is personal responsibility. So, in here, it includes demonstrating how we manage ourselves in matters such as personal finance, ethical and moral boundaries, personal health and wellness, and relationship of every kind, both online or offline. Okay, so, in here is, lahat tayo is responsable sa kung ano man ang gagawin natin. So, every individuals are responsible of for their actions. So, including yung ating financial, ethical, and health choices, whether online or offline tayo. So, in there is, as personal is we manage ourselves. We manage ourselves kung ano ba yung mga dapat natin gawin sa internet o kung ano yung mga hindi natin dapat gawin. So, next naman is yung global citizen. So, it understands that technology has dissolved boundaries between all the world's people. We now communicate, collaborate, and celebrate across all levels of society. So, we are all now called global citizens. Kasi in here is that, sabi niya dyan is, it understands that technology has dissolved boundaries between all the world's people. So, in there is, we are acknowledging that we are all interconnected of the world. And then, we share different cultures and beliefs, but then we also act as responsible global citizens so that we may maintain the interconnectedness that we have and become responsible global citizens. Okay, so next is digital citizenship. So, it covers appropriate and exemplary behavior in our online environments. It's about working towards making our transparent digital world safe for ourselves and others. So, Dito naman is, ginagawa natin yung mga dapat natin gawin sa online world, wherein alam natin yung kung ano yung mga hindi natin dapat i-click na mga links, kasi marami ng scams ngayon, para mapanatili yung safetyness ng ating informations in our online world. So we are demonstrating appropriate behaviors online so that we may achieve the safe and transparent digital environment. Okay, so next naman is altruism service. So in here is, altruism is defined as having a selfless concern for the well-being of others. Yun is nagkaroon tayo ng pag-aalala sa iba. So that global digital citizens acknowledge that they share this world with many different people. Kasi nga, 'di ba, global citizen is interconnected lahat. We call the global digital world as one community only. So there is marami tayong pagkakaiba. And so these ideals apply to the people we know, but also to those we don't know. This includes embracing the opportunity to exercise charity and goodwill for the benefit of others. So, dito is nagpo-focus siya sa others, sa ating kapwa. Sa kung ano yung mga maitutulong natin. So, this is showing selfless concern for the well-being of others, extending goodwill and charity to those known and unknown. Kilala man natin o hindi, is yun yung bibigay natin ng tulong sa ating kapwa. Kaya nga, service. Okay, so next naman is the environmental stewardship. So this practice is all about common sense values and an appreciation for the beauty and majesty that surrounds us every day. This facet of global digital citizenship encourages exploring how we can practice the conscientious use of Earth's resources. So, this facet of global digital citizenship reinforces the idea that we have one world, that we all live on it. It's vital that we respect it and take steps to ensure its beauty and longevity for all future generations. So, tama nga naman we are the consumers of our environment. So, dapat natin ding pangalagaan yung ating environment for the future generations, para naman meron ding maabutan yung mga susunod pang mga henerasyon, yung mga anak natin or yung mga magiging apo pa. So, this is where we are appreciating the natural environment and practicing responsible resource use for future generations. Intindihan po ba natin? Okay, so, tumungo naman tayo sa elements of digital citizenship. Okay, so first is the digital access. So, it is supposed to be available to all in the same manner that education is made sure by the Philippine government to be available to all citizens. Sabi ko nga kanina is, gaya ng edukasyon is meron din tayong karapatan sa pag-access ng ating internet. So, kaya digital access, meron tayong karapatan na mag-post, mag-my day, pero alam din natin ang ating limitations. This is where we have the right to access the internet, similar to the right to education. Okay, so next naman is the digital commerce. So in here, technology users need to understand that a large share of market is being done electronically nowadays. People shop through different websites like, diba, Shopee, Lazada, yung Temu, or sa Shein, or Shein. And then, and even do online transactions for banking. Di ba, pwede ba tayong mag-deposit sa ating mga bank accounts through GCash. And then, Also with this, an E-Commerce Act or RA 8972 was signed in July 2000. So, meron tayong karapatan para gawin ang mga iyon. So, this is where users must not understand the growing significance of the online shopping and transactions. Okay, so next is digital communication. It is another element of digital citizenship that we can seem to be embracing wholeheartedly. So digital communication is the electronic exchange of communication which includes emailing, yung pag-send natin ng email, texting, instant messages, utilizing cell phones, and etc. Example is, di ba, yung sa Messenger, pwede tayong mag-video calls kahit malayo pa yung mga mahal natin sa buhay. Marami na din, meron ding mga Telegram, pwede din sa Instagram. Marami na tayong mga apps na pwede natin gamitin wherein na nabubuo yung communication natin through that apps. So, dito is dinidiscuss natin yung importansya ng using digital communications effectively and also responsibly nga, kasi huwag tayong basta-basta ding mag-send ng mga pictures kasi pwede din nilang gamitin yon laban sa atin some days. Kaya mag-ingat tayo sa mga ganon, mga cyberbullying, ganon. And so, digital literacy. As digital citizens, it is our responsibility to develop and continually enhance our technological knowledge. So, yun nga, technological knowledge. Kailangan din natin i-expand yung knowledge natin sa paggamit ng technology. Hindi dapat tayo ma-stuck or ma-strand sa iisang alam lang natin. Kailangan din nating mag-explore so that we will use that also in the future. So we should support and encourage the acquisition of technological knowledge by others. We should model the positive and proactive use of technology for good causes, personal and professional growth, and education. Kasi yun nga is magagamit din natin yan in our learning, or lalo na sa mga magiging teachers. Kailangan marami tayong alam sa or kailangan magiging digital literate tayo para alam natin kung ano man yung mga pwede nating i-foster kapag naging teacher na tayo. So, we have the responsibility on developing our technological knowledge so that we will not be left behind in the future. Okay, so next naman is the digital etiquettes. Ito na yung mga rules and guidelines na kailangan nating i-follow. This refers to the electronic standards of conduct or procedure. This is often seen as one of the most pressing problems when dealing with digital citizenship. Kasi nga yung iba is hindi nila alam yung mga limitations nila. Wherein, di ba, basta silang nag-edit ng mga pictures na mga funny, tapos pinupost nila sa internet. Hindi nila alam na merong effect yun sa person, and then that would cause stress or trauma. Hindi na alam ng mga tao na cyberbullying na pala yun. So, yan is kaya nga sinasabing pressing problems. So, kaya nga, kailangan nating aralin yung mga dapat gawin at mga hindi dapat gawin. Kailangan nating alam yung limitations natin as digital citizens para wala nang mga ganyang mangyayari. So, next is the digital law. Digital law refers to the electronic responsibility for actions and deeds. The digital world is so huge that there should be order, discipline, and ethical use. Plagiarism, copyright infringement, hacking of information, identity theft are crimes that are commonly violated by online users. So, isa sa mga problema is yung plagiarism, especially kapag gumagawa tayo ng mga researches, is kailangan nating i-acknowledge yung mga writers so that hindi tayo makasuhan ng plagiarism. Kasi parang kinukuha mo na yung mga idea nila at sinasabi mo na own opinion mo yun or own idea mo yun. Well, in fact, kinuha mo lang naman sa mga researches din ng iba. Kaya kailangan nating mag-copyright para hindi tayo ma-plagiarism sa ating mga ginagawa or sa ating mga research papers. Naintindihan po ba natin? Okay, so next naman is we have the digital rights and responsibilities. For every right, there is a corresponding duty. And so, for everything and for every privilege, there is a corresponding responsibility. The privileges of digital access come along with responsibility. Kaya nga, di ba, kapag nabigyan tayo ng mga opportunities is that i-grab natin yun, but then we should also know that we have also responsibilities to do. Right? Kaya wag natin kalimutan. So, kaya sabi niya nga, for every right there is a corresponding duty and for every privilege. Sabi nga, meron tayong right na, for example, meron tayong right to use or to access the internet. But then, meron din tayong responsibility as citizens of the digital world wherein, di ba, kailangan nating alamin yung mga limitations natin, yung mga dapat nating hindi gawin para ma-maintain yung safetyness ng iba or ng ating sarili. Yun yung responsibility natin na dapat alam natin yung mga hindi natin dapat gawin sa ating online world. So, next naman is, I think last na to, digital health and wellness. Our physical and psychological well-being is a digital technology world should be a priority. Many illnesses have become associated with technology use, such as carpal tunnel syndrome, eye strain, and childhood obesity as an effect of children's prolonged sitting in front of the computer screens. Tama. Kasi, ngayon kasi yung mga bata is more on sila sa watching on TVs or cellphones. Kaya, bata pa lang sila is na meron ng pagkasira yung mata nila, like lumalabo na. Kasi yun nga is nakaupo lang sila doon and then naka-focus lang sa screens ng TV or ng cellphones. Sabi din dyan is obesity. Kasi nga pagkatapos ng paggamit ng cellphone or pagkatapos ng panonood, kakain, and then balik ulit sa routine na panonood ulit or nag-replay sa phones. So yun, nagkakaroon ng obesity sa mga bata pa lang or pwede din sa mga adults. And also meron pa yung mga syndromes na effects ng prolonged usage of the internet or yung prolonged na pag-stay mo sa screens ng cellphones mo. Kasi nga yung radiations is sobra yung hatak niya sa atin. Pwede ding maapektuhan yung ating katawan. So, kailangan din natin maging physically fit or alam natin yung mga wellness na ating ginagawa kapag tayo ay nakafocus lang sa screens ng cellphones or ng mga computers or yung mga TVs. Pwede din yung mga matatanda actually, like matatanda sila, kailangan nilang mag-walk, like walking para yun lang yung exercise nila, pero hindi. Nakaupo lang sila and then kumakain, yun is pwede din silang mag-gain ng weight, kaya nagiging obese din sila, or pwede din nagsa-start pa sa high blood. Ganon. Nagigets po ba natin? Okay, so last is the digital security. How to keep ourselves secure in any community is a major concern. if we keep our homes safe with gates and locks, we also need to protect the information, excuse me, the information that we provide online. With privacy settings and strong passwords, we also need to have virus protections and backups of our data. Sa mga, diba, sa computer natin, kailangan natin magkaroon ng virus protections. And also, sa ating informations sa online, wag nating i-post yung mga, or wag nating i-public yung mga informations natin kasi doon is mas madaling nahahack yung ating mga accounts. And so, kapag gagawa tayo ng mga passwords is yung mga unique, yung mga hindi madaling nadidiscover ng mga hackers. So, we should protect our digital security, or we should maintain not posting any public information sa ating mga accounts so that magiging digitally secure ang ating mga accounts. Okay? So, knowledge, check. What does it mean to be a digital citizen? And how can you observe social, ethical, and legal responsibilities in the use of technology tools and resources? Okay, so anyone who could share her or his knowledge? Okay, so thank you so much for sharing. So I hope you understand something in our discussion. So let's move on to the lesson 2, which will be discussed by my groupmate. So thank you for listening and have a good day.
Okay, so good afternoon everyone. Let's move on to lesson 2, netizenship and etiquette in online communities. Okay, so we have here our lesson outcomes. So first one, define netizenship and etiquette. Second one is formulate a set of netiquette guidelines. And the last one, create a campaign video to promote netiquette. Okay, so let's define what is netizen and netiquette. So the word netizen ay galing sa pinagsamang internet at citizen. So according sa Merriam-Webster Dictionary, ang netizen ay isang active participant sa online community. So ayon naman sa Medical Dictionary, ang netizen ay isang internet citizen na gumagamit ng mga network resources, kaya may kasamang pananagutan at civic participation. So, ibig sabihin nito, ang pagiging citizen ay hindi lamang basta paggamit ng internet, kundi pagiging responsable din sa paggamit nito. And then, the next one is netiquette. So, ang netiquette ay pinagsamang network at etiquette. So, ito ang mga rules of acceptable behavior online, kung paano ka dapat kumilos at makipagkomunikasyon sa internet tulad sa paggamit ng email, pag-text, pag-post at pag-comment. Kailangan natin ng netiquette para maging maayos, magalang at responsable ang ating ugnayan sa digital world. So, we have here some netiquette guidelines. Okay, first one is protect your reputation. So, whether in a real or in the virtual world, you are the same person. So, kung anong pinapakita mo sa online is that it reflects you as a person sa totoong buhay. So, kung ayaw mo mapahiya o magkaroon ng masamang tingin sa'yo, ang ibang tao, huwag kang magpo-post o magko-comment ng mga bagay na makakasira sa imahe mo. So, think before you click. And then the next one is respect others. Respect begets respect. So treat everyone with respect even if you have not seen him or her in person. So be judicious about what you say on your own and other pages. So malinaw na sinasabi dito that we have to respect others. Kahit kilala mo man yon o hindi, is that you have to show respect to them. Then the third one is that express yourself clearly and use emoticons. So communication online is difficult because emotions are not evident. So hindi naman talaga natin nakikita yung mga expression ng isang tao when they post. But then by using emoticons is that napapatunayan o naipapakita nun ang emotion nito sa ibig sabihin nito dun sa kanyang pinost. So, sa online, it's easy to be misunderstood because your facial or your facial expressions and tone of voice aren't visible. So, it is important to be clear in your messages and use emoticons to show your emotions. So, the fourth one is that remember the intellectual property. So, ideas online are products of intelligence of others. So, you wouldn't want someone to steal your ideas, right? So, that's why always remember that the ideas you find online belongs to someone else. That's why if you use them, make sure to proper or to give proper credit to the authors. And then fifth one is check spelling, grammar, and punctuation. So since your face cannot be seen online, you will be judged according to your posts. Good writing means good manners. We do not want to waste other people's time reading our posts which is incomprehensible. So, i-check ang spelling, grammar, at tamang paggamit ng bantas dahil hindi nakikita ng mga tao ang iyong mukha online. So, hinuhusgahan tayo batay sa ating mga sinusulat, kaya mahalagang mag-post ng may maayos na grammar, spelling at bantas para maintindihan tayo at maipakita ng respeto sa mga nagbabasa. Then, number 6, post before you post. Take note that whatever you post becomes permanent, therefore think twice or thrice before you click send. So, mag-isip muna bago mag-post. Tandaan na kapag nag-post ka online, permanenteng bahagi na ito ng internet. Kahit burahin mo pa ito, may posibilidad na may naka-screenshot na o naka-save ng picture or nung pinost mo. So, kaya bago ka mag-click ng send or post, isipin mo muna kung maayos ba itong tingnan o kung makakasakit ba ito ng ibang tao. And then, you have here the next one. Do not share your personal information. So, wag basta-basta nagbabahagi ng personal information online. Delikado ito dahil maraming masasamang loob na pwedeng gamitin ng impormasyong ito para magnakaw ng iyong identity o gumawa ng masama gamit ang iyong identity. So, maging maingat din sa ating mga share online. And then, the last one is think about who or what you are representing. So, sabi nga, as a daughter, you represent your family. Right? So, as a student, you are also representing your school. So, you do not want your family or school to be put to shame by what you do. So, isipin mo kung sino o ano ang nirepresenta mo online. So, kung ayaw mong mapahiya sila dahil lang sa hindi mo pinag-isipang post o comment, maging maingat sa mga ginagawa online. Okay? So, these guidelines will help each and every one of us to become aware of our actions, especially online, and help us to be a responsible netizen. That's all. Thank you for listening. And then let's move on to the next topic.
Good afternoon, everyone. So, now we're going to discuss the lesson 3, intellectual property rights and the development and use of digital materials. So, first, let's discuss what is intellectual property. So, according to the World Intellectual Property Organization, it refers to the creations of the mind, such as inventions, literary and artistic works, designs and symbols, names and images used in commerce. An intellectual property right is a right held by a person or by a company to have exclusive rights over this. So, dito sa intellectual property rights, tinutukoy nito is yung mga inventions ng isang individual. Like yung mga artistic works, like yung mga paintings, even songs, yung mga ganon, yung mga original works ng bawat individual. And ang those inventors or yung mga may-ari ng mga paintings and ng mga music is they are given the right, which is the intellectual property right. So this intellectual property protection is important in fostering innovation. Without protection of ideas, individuals will not be able to enjoy the full benefit of their inventions, and they would not be compensated for their creations. This encourages innovation without the fear that a competitor will steal the idea and or take the credit for it. So, dito naman sa intellectual property rights is ito na yung right na naibigay sa isang inventor ng isang bagay or yung mga composer sa mga music. And sa tulong ng intellectual property right, confident yung owner nung isang work na hindi mananakaw yung kanyang work. And sa tulong din ng intellectual property right is na-enjoy nila yung full benefit or yung credits or yung fame sa kanilang mga works. And so kapag naman kapag ginamit mo or yung ibang tao ginamit yung work ng iba without the permission of the owner and without the proper citation of the owner is nava-violate yung Republic Act 8293, which is the intellectual property rights. And yung owner is pwede niyang kasuhan yung taong gumamit ng kanyang works without his or her permission. So, yung intellectual property right, intellectual property, it talks about it talks about someone's original work or yung mga ideas. While the intellectual property right is ito naman na yung right na nabigay sa owner or yung original na may-ari ng isang work. So, next, we have the copyright. So, copyright refers to the legal right given to the owner of the original work or intellectual property. And so, dito na, copyright is yung yung owner ng isang work is meron siyang legal rights and these works are original intellectual creations in the literary and artistic domain protected from the moment of their creation. So, yung mga yung mga works ng isang individual is meron ng it is already protected by intellectual property right nung time na nakilala or yung na-compose or nagawa yung work na yon. Example is yung mga books, yung mga pamphlets, articles, and other writings, periodicals and newspapers, even yung mga letters. And kaya kapag ginamit natin yung mga example, yung book. So, kapag ginamit natin yung book, kailangan nating humingi ng permiso or permission. We need to ask permission sa owner nito bago natin sila gamitin sa ating mga papers. Example sa isang book may gagamitin tayong mga words or may kukunin tayong mga words or ideas, kailangan nating i-cite yung owner. Kailangan nating i-properly cite. Kasi kung hindi, mava-violate natin yung Republic Act 8293. And also, nowadays, yung internet is, sa internet na tayo mostly kumukuha ng mga ideas natin or yung mga materials na gagamitin. Example, sa mga teachers is pwede kasi silang kumuha sa internet ng mga pictures, ng mga videos na pwede nilang gamitin sa kanilang lecture. But then, kailangan nating mag-ingat and we need to be careful. Yun nga, we need to be careful sa paggamit sa mga materials na yon. And kasi they are protected by they are already protected. Sabi nga kanina, from the moment of their creation, they are already protected. Kaya kailangan nating i-properly cite yung mga yon. And also, dito papasok yung copyright infringement, which refers to the use of works without permission where the copyright holder has the exclusive right to reproduce, distribute, display, or perform the protected work or to make derivative works, proper citations should be used when including them in our output. Kaya, so dito sa copyright infringement, ito na yung act mismo. This is the act of using with someone's work without their permission. Talamak na ito ngayon. Kasi nga, 'di ba sa internet mga ang dami ng mga ideas and yun nga, copy paste. And kailangan nating iwasan yun. We need to avoid those para hindi natin ma-violate yung right ng owner and hindi kasi sa 'di ba yung mga works or yung mga ideas they are already protected. Then yung mga inventors or yung mga may yung yung may yung may-ari nung idea or yung mga inventions na yun, kung kung na kung nalaman niya or hindi niya gusto yung ginawa ng isang tao na pag-copy sa kanyang mga works, pwede siyang magdemanda kasi nga meron na yung Republic Act 8293. And so sa yung copyright, it talks about the legal right given to the owner na na siya lang yung nag-iisang pwedeng mag-produce ng kanyang mga works, ng kanyang mga music, ganun. And while the copyright infringement, it talks about the act of using someone's work without their permission. And next is we have the guidelines on online use of copyright materials by Smaldino, Lowther, and Russell that will be discussed by Miss Crystalline. So, thank you.
Kanina diniscuss sa atin kung ano yung copyright infringement. Ngayon naman, dako tayo sa guidelines on online use of copyrighted materials by Smaldino, Lowther, and Russell of 2012. Contrary to popular opinion, all materials on the internet is copyrighted unless stated otherwise. It is copyrighted even if it does not display the copyright symbol. So, hindi porket may nakita na tayong isang picture, video, or article sa internet is that we can already save it, share it, or i-copy ito. Even though na walang nakalagay na copyright symbol, it is still protected by copyright laws, and unless yung owner mismo or yung copyright holder is nagsabi na it is free to use. Kasi using materials in the internet without permission sa copyright holder can lead to copyright infringement. An email is an original work fixed in a tangible medium of expression that is covered by copyright. Hence, it is recommended that you should not forward any email without permission in consideration of both copyright and privacy act. So, yung email na ginagamit natin is sakop ng copyright laws, kaya hindi mo pwede itong basta-basta na lang i-forward sa iba or ipamahagi sa iba nang walang pahintulot mula sa may-ari ng email na yun. Kung may natanggap or binigay sa atin na email, kailangan humingi tayo ng permiso sa may-ari ng email na iyon kung pwede ba natin itong i-share or i-forward sa iba. Kasi kapag ibinahagi ito ng walang permiso mula sa may-ari is pwedeng may ma-violate tayong copyright law and privacy act ng isang tao. Downloading an article from a newspaper's website, making copies and distributing them to your student prior to a class discussion on the topic is permissible following the current photocopying guidelines, which permits making multiple copies for classroom use. The exception would be individually bylined, copyrighted articles, or articles from a source specifically designed for the educational market where such articles cannot be copied legally for class distribution. So, bilang isang future guro, kung may gagamitin man tayong isang article
mula sa isang website for classroom discussion is pwede tayong mag-download, ipa-photocopy, or i-share sa mga student natin ang website na iyon. Kung ito ay sumusunod sa photocopying guidelines. Pero kapag may individual byline or yung nakasulat doon yung author ng article is hindi natin ito basta-basta na lang kinokopya kapag lalo-lalo na kapag walang permiso sa copyright holder. Or yung mga articles from educational resources like books, hindi ito pwedeng kopyahin na lamang unless humingi muna tayo ng permiso kung okay lang ba itong gamitin. You cannot post students' essays, poems, or other works on the school website unless you have permission of the students and their parents or guardians. So, as a future educator, kapag may ipapagawa man tayo sa mga ating mga estudyante, lalong-lalo na kapag essays, poems, or any other works na related sa language, is that hindi natin ito basta-basta na lang ipinopost sa school website, lalong-lalo na kapag wala tayong hininging pahintulot na pwede natin itong i-post sa mga estudyante natin. So, bago natin i-post, i-ask natin sila kung okay lang bang i-post ito. Kasi, kapag hindi natin sila tinanong kung okay lang na i-post natin ito, is that parang bina-violate natin, na natin yung privacy nila bilang mga estudyante. Pero kapag pinahintulutan tayong i-post ito, so pwede natin itong i-post sa school website. Educators should treat copyrighted materials from the internet the same way they do to print formats. The best guideline is to always obtain permission when in doubt. So yung mga digital resources is protected by copyright. Kaya gamitin ito sa tama, at kung may kailangan ng permiso, humingi tayo ng pahintulot sa copyright holder bago ito gamitin. Kung may tanong is magtanong tayo ng maayos kung okay lang ba itong i-share sa mga estudyante natin para hindi tayo magkaroon ng problema sa huli. Next, we have the copyright infringement versus plagiarism. Plagiarism refers to copying the work of another and claiming it as one's ideas or without proper attribution, while copyright infringement is copying one's work without obtaining permission. In this sense, copyright infringement is a violation of the right of the copyright holder, while plagiarism is a violation of the right of the author. We have to note that not all authors are copyright holders. There are cases where the publisher owns the copyright. In addition, copyright infringement is a legal violation, while plagiarism is an ethical violation. Pag sinasabi nating plagiarism, ito yung paggamit mo ng idea ng iba and pinalabas mo na iyo yung idea na yun without hindi mo binabanggit kung sino nga ba or saan galing yung idea na iyon. So, pwede kang maparusahan pero hindi masyadong mabigat. Kapag sinasabi naman natin copyright infringement, ito yung paggamit mo, yung pagkopya mo, or yung pag-distribute ng mga likhang copyright nang walang pahintulot mula sa copyright holder ng gawa na iyon, or yung mga, for example, yung kanta na iyon, na hindi iyon pero kinopyright mo ito. So, pwede kang makasuhan ng copyright infringement. Pwede kang kasuhan, patawan ng parusa dahil ito ay legal na paglabag. Minsan ang publisher ang may hawak ng copyright, hindi mismo ang sumulat. Kasi lalo-lalo na sa mga malalaking kumpanya. So, medyo matimbang ito or medyo mabigat itong copyright infringement kaysa plagiarism. So, yun lamang po. Thank you sa pakikinig.